2020 is an incredible year for games, but evidently it's also an incredible year for game delays, namely those of Dying Light 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Marvel Avengers and, my personal favourite, Cyberpunk 2077. This means an even longer delay to the already 7-year wait since the first trailer way back in 2013. To give a nice overview, this list consists of new, old, AAA and some fantastic indie titles. As an added bonus, almost all of these games are cheap to pick up now and won't dip into your Cyberpunk savings. My name is James, you're watching the Xbox Hub, and this is 7 games to play before the release of Cyberpunk. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a masterclass in modern storytelling, character development, and world building. Not only is it a fantastic game in its own right, but it's a great sign of how phenomenal CD Projekt Red are as a team. Furthermore, Cyberpunk has had a longer development cycle, and Adam Kaczynski, joint CEO of CD Projekt Red, stated the budget and upcoming sales of Cyberpunk are much larger than that of The Witcher 3. Whilst different in tone and gameplay, I believe that the mature and overall brilliant storytelling will shine through in both games regardless. The stories within The Witcher 3, when contained to themselves, would work just as well in any other setting. They are intelligent, thoughtful, and well designed. The Witcher 1 and 2 are great too, but admittedly a little hard to get into, so The Witcher 3 isn't a bad place to start. You can pick up The Witcher 3 and its excellent DLC in practically every sale that pops up. Give it a go. Whilst not my personal favourite in the franchise, Mankind Divided is undeniably the most technically impressive. It boasts great mechanics and storytelling and features some truly unique ways of finishing objectives. Both this and Cyberpunk have futuristic, augment-fueled settings with a gritty tone and hints of governmental control and surveillance. They also both feature close, visceral combat and a stealthy approach if that's the way you play games. Mankind Divided is very cheap to buy with discounts in all manner of sales. Larian Studios have a background in deep, old-school RPG experiences. It's reminiscent of the style set forward by BioWare and Black Isle Studios with Baldur's Gate over 20 years ago, and it's no wonder why they're developing the upcoming Baldur's Gate 3. Divinity Original Sin 2 is perhaps their greatest achievement to date. This is possibly the closest video game players have ever got to old-school D&D. It's wonderfully smart with a deep mechanics system which encourages the player to figure out smart ways out of situations. A player once beat the entire game using magic and a chest that weighed an infinitely large weight. This is true creative freedom and absolutely worth your time. This is admittedly a nostalgia-heavy list, featuring a lot of new games in old-school styles. 2064 is the pinnacle of this. It features a lovely 16-bit inspired graphic style, a chiptune-laden soundtrack, a fully voiced cast, and point-and-click gameplay. Where it's similar to Cyberpunk is in its great storytelling and theming. Set in the year 2064, it features futuristic tech and visuals. Besides all these points, it's just a genuinely great and heartfelt indie title, reminiscent of one of my favourite titles, Snatcher. This choice is perhaps a little less obvious, and it's not just because the Vindicator and PPNA pistols look similar, which they do by the way. I chose Prey as it's a severely overlooked title from 2017 that has a similar combat feel to Cyberpunk's gameplay trailers. Close, methodical, and brutal. Furthermore, it has a focus on action RPG elements and pseudo-claustrophobic environments. It's an absolute delight exploring around the Talos One, and great even for non-horror fans. To top it off, Prey can be picked up for around $5 on Amazon. Oh, and its Mooncraft DLC is phenomenal. From one horror experience to another, Observer is a great psychological horror by the team behind Blair Witch and Layers of Fear, one of my favourite horror titles of the last few years. Set through the eyes of Detective Daniel Lazarski in the year 2084, your main ability is one to hack people's brain implants for information. Not only is this a great gimmick, it's a fascinating parallel between Observer, Cyberpunk and the aforementioned Deus Ex, providing great social commentary on the depth of scientific progress and the downside on humanity's over-reliance. It's also just overall great fun. By far the oldest on this list, Fallout New Vegas has noticeable downsides due to its age. It's not the prettiest game and has obvious gameplay flaws, but the test of time shows this game still has some of the strongest writing on the market. I first played New Vegas almost 10 years ago and its stories are still memorable to this day. It has truly interesting moral choices, great writing and impeccable DLC. If you can stomach its frankly ugly graphics, you'll find an outstanding gem that you yourself may even heavy-handedly force into a gaming list. Fallout New Vegas and its DLC are backwards compatible on Xbox One and absolutely worth looking into. And that's the list. In total you're looking at 7 games, around £100 worth of investment, and hundreds of hours worth of incredible content in return to get you ready for Cyberpunk 2077. With it now provisionally announced for release on Xbox One, PS4 and PC for the 17th of September, it's a good time to get into it. One can only hope it's not delayed again, or I'll have to write another one of these lists for you to make your way through. If you'd like recommendations of a similar nature, feel free to comment down below. I'm James, thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe to hear more from the Xbox Hub.